when the metal ball was heated, it couldn't pass through the ring. So after after heating it, after I think for 3 minutes, then on cooling it, it contracted and it could pass through the ring.
Thank you, Solomon. Yes, can I see Daniela? Daniela, what did you observe? Daniela.
Okay. What I observed is that when the metallic ball was heated for around 3 minutes, it failed to pass through that ring. I think it's because expansion had taken place, but then after cooling it using the cold water, it was able to pass again. I think it's because of contraction.
Okay, thank you, Daniela. Tamara.
Okay.
Excuse me, teacher. Teacher, excuse me, we are not hearing you.
Tamara, I'm not hearing you. Your microphone muted or something. Okay. Yes, Ime.
Yes, teacher. According to my observation, I saw a metallic ring attached to a certain wood material and a metallic ball. So this metallic ball, before it was heated, it was able to pass through the metallic ring. But when it was heated strongly for something like 3 minutes, it didn't pass through. After that, they cooled it with water and it passed through. So according to my understanding, I think the increment in temperature made this metallic ball to expand, failing to pass through. But when the temperature was decreased, it was able to pass through. Thank you, teacher.
Okay, thank you. I think let me have some other two people. As for Casey, better you rename yourself, then Malcolm, you will also give us your answer. S for Casey and then Malcolm. Please unmute. S for Casey. If you're not there, Malcolm.
I'm around, sir.
Okay, you talk to us then.
It's me, Malcolm.
Yes, ma'am.
According to my observation, I saw a ring that at first it could enter that ring, that round thing, and when when we brought it back, it could not pass there. And then that's what I observed. I observed that we burnt it or we heated it, and it could not there. Then to explain my observation is that that ring, that experiment explains that these maybe the outcome of heat onto the metallic things or on matter, especially those ones, is that they expand. That's why when we put it at first, it could pass through, but when we went and heated it, when we brought it back, that is contraction and expansion.
Okay, thank you, Malcolm. Thank you, Malcolm, for that wonderful answer. Yes, Tessa, you raise up, your hand is up, Tessa.
Teacher, for me, best one I said is what I also observed. My explanation is that this metal was heated, and it being a good conductor of heat, it got it whatever the heat, because it would pass through because it was at room temperature. But when the heat was increased, the molecules inside expanded and increased the volume. And volume is the amount of space occupied by an object. And since the volume was increased and the metal ring, its volume remained the same. So this metal ball could not pass through because of it had expansion and it had expanded and the volume had increased. But when it was cooled, the heat was removed and it contracted, like someone said, and the volume reduced again, going back to the normal, and it enabled it to pass through the metal ring again. Thank you.
Thank you, Tessa. Lastly, yes, Malcolm, is there anything you want to tell us, or you forgot your hand up?
Pastor, I'm sorry, I just forgot my hand up.
Okay. Okay, thank you for those wonderful discussions. You have told me that the main reason, or what you observed, you saw that at the beginning, the ball could go through the metal ring, but when the ball was heated, it didn't go through the metal ring. Most of you have told me that this is because the ball had expanded on heating. Someone told us, I think it was told us that when the metal ball is heated, the molecules inside that ball move at a faster speed, and moving at a faster speed increases the space between the molecules. And increase in space between the molecules, one of our friends says that it increases the volume that solid or those molecules are occupying. So since the volume that is occupied by those molecules is increasing, that whole ball becomes expanded. So it becomes bigger than usual. That's why when you put it back after heating, it cannot pass through that metal ring because now it's occupying a gas expanded. And you saw after they had heated it, then it couldn't pass through the ring. They took it to a tap. They opened the tap and they made it to cool down. And on cooling down, when they put it back into the metal ball, you realize that it passed through. And that is because it had contracted. These molecules had now reduced on the spaces between them, and the ball could go through. So that explains to us that yes, solids expand. Let us go to our next slide.
Teacher,
Yes.
it's me, Malcolm.
Yes.
I don't know, because I'm a co-host and I've tried to all the people,
Yeah,
nobody's having a microphone on. I know the background, there is a lot of noise.
My background has a lot of noise because I'm in a room where there are people, and now the rain has gone, so it can be their voices can be captured. We have rain outside. I couldn't work from out.
All right.
So what we are going to, I want you to see, there are some pictures there. I don't know if they can be seen properly.
Yes, they are clear.
Can you be able to see those pictures?
Yes.
We can. Teacher,
Yes.
too much noise. I'm not understanding.
Sorry?
Too much noise.
I think I've reduced on the noise. I've moved out of the room I was in, and I'm now out. Are you hearing the noise anymore?
Not really.
Yeah, now I'm fighting with the rain noise only. I'm asking, are you able to see those pictures that are displayed on the screen?
Yeah, they are two.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay, there
teacher.
are two pictures. Now, one of
Yeah.
those pictures is a railway line, whereas the other one is a bridge. Now, if you are observant, you see there is a space. There is this space here. Sorry. There is this space here where I'm passing that red ball. Are you seeing that space?
Yeah.
Yes, there is that space there. And then there is also this space between the two sides of a bridge. Are you seeing that space?
Yes.
So our question here is asking, why do you think these gaps are left in the railway line and in the bridge?
Yes.
Mabel, your hand is up.
Teacher, I think they are left to allow room for expansion.
To allow room for expansion.
Expansion. Yes.
Yes, sounders. I think it's me. Sounded
Teacher,
the
I
name
think
profile.
that those.
Excuse me.
Yes, teacher. Teacher, I think that the gaps are left to avoid room for expansion and contraction, to allow room for expansion and contraction.
Okay, they are left to allow room for expansion and contraction. Yes, Tessa.
I think they are left to allow room for expansion such that when it happens, like the no damages are caused, like breaking, because when it expands, for example, in a railway line, maybe the line will increase in length. So if no space is left, meaning the room for expansion will be limited, leading to things like accidents.
Okay, thank you, Tessa, for that wonderful submission. Yes, Lorna. Lorna, your hand has been up. Lorna. Okay, Lorna is gone. Dennis. I know it's because.
Excuse me, sir. We have just joined, but can you repeat for us the topic?
Now we are going to go behind. Okay, we are looking at expansion in solids. And we have had an experiment on video where we saw that yes, solids expand when the temperature is increased. By the time you came in, we are looking at this diagram, these two diagrams that you are seeing. The gaps that are left in a railway line and the gaps that are left here on a bridge. So we were asking ourselves why we think these gaps are left in a railway line and in a bridge. And people were telling me, yes, Dennis, your hand is up.
And to allow room for expansion.
Okay, the answer was to allow room for expansion. Then there is another thing that I want us to see here. You are seeing, I don't know if the picture is clear at your side. Anyone can tell me what do you observe? What are you seeing there?
Masts with electric wires. Teacher?
Saggy wires.
Yes?
Yeah. We are saying lines sagging.
You are seeing lines that are sagging or
Yeah.
electric wires that are sagging. So why do you think they are left to sag?
Yeah.
Why do you think those lines are left to sag? Anyone? Yes, Mabel?
Sure, I think it is the same as, like, it is to allow room for expansion.
Mabel. Okay, expansion, Faith. Faith.
Faith Sierra. Okay, teacher,
Yes.
it's to create room for expansion just in case of a hot temperature. A hot day, these wires will have to expand due to the temperature. And in order to create that room for expansion, they are left to sag. In that when they expand, they can be tight.
Okay, thank you so much. Yes, Solomon.
Thank you, teacher.
Solomon.
Also, in my opinion, I'm also thinking that they are left to sag. For example, if it's a to contract just straight, when it's a cold day, they will contract and the line will end up, let me say, tearing and causing accidents. So I think they also want to leave room for contraction.
Okay, thank you, Solomon. Yes, Sounders.
I think they are left sagging in order to allow them, in order to allow free expansion and contraction. Because when they are left sagging, they are able to transmit the electricity.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah. Then Praise, Chintu. Praise, your hand is up.
To allow space for free contraction or expansion, because in the cold weather, the wires will contract and they may tear. But then in the hot weather, they will sag again. So I feel like they are sagging mostly to put on the side of contraction.
Okay. Thank you so much, all of you, for your wonderful submissions. At least you know why those wires are sagging. Okay, now I want someone to read for us this activity. We are going to do it now. I want someone to read for us that activity. I'm going to pick. Yes, Praise Chintu. Yes, Praise.
So I had just left my hand up.
Okay, yes. Sierra, you read for us.
Okay, activity. During the hot season, James realizes that whichever wall he builds develops cracks and some even fall with time. His customers are complaining and threatening not to give him his money if this is not fixed. As a physics student, explain to James the cause of this and give advice on how this can be fixed. Thank you.
So everyone, I'm giving you 10 minutes. You write for me something good about that activity. Explain to James what causes his walls that he builds to develop those cracks on hot seasons. And then I want you to give him advice on how he can fix this. I'm giving you 10 good minutes. And after those minutes, I will give each one of you a chance to read for us what he or she has written. So you keep the microphones muted, keep the videos off, write something down. Each one of us is going to talk after those 10 minutes.
Mr. Nsubuga, is it possible for us to open the WhatsApp group so that they post their work there? They take a picture of what they've written and post there. Maybe after the discussion. Mr. Nsubuga, are you hearing me? Mr. Nsubuga?
I think he's not hearing you.
Okay, let me send him a WhatsApp.
I'm also not aware of what you are going to do.
Yes, Mr. Dongo.
Mr.
Yes, Mr.
Nsubuga, I was just asking that
Yes.
when they have written their work in the book, I know you are going to discuss it here, but can we also open the WhatsApp group
Yes.
so that they can post there what they have written? So that will help us in whichever group they are to know who has been active and what they've written.
Okay, let me ask. I'm using a laptop. I don't know if I can get the links from Mr. Teacher Jose.
Teacher.
Send them to me. Yes.
Teacher, we are writing in our books.
Yes, you write it down, please, in your book.
And after I take a word.
We are going to take a picture and we are going to share them in our WhatsApp groups. Eh?
Okay, teacher.
You can ask whoever is not on WhatsApp to raise their hand so that we can share a link in the chat.
Okay, Mr. Dung, let me do that.
I've put the WhatsApp link in the chat.
Okay, sir.
Yes, there is a WhatsApp link in our chat. For those ones who are not on WhatsApp, please, I will click on that link and join the groups for S2. And what we are going to be doing with our work, please write it down. We are going to discuss it here, but I would like to also find it there in the groups so that we can see how we are moving on. So please, after you have written in the book, we are going to share it here, but I want you to take a picture that you are going to send in the WhatsApp groups. Yes, Sounders, do you have a question? Yes, Faith.
Teacher, it's just a simple request. If you would please share back the screen with a question. Thank you.
Okay, okay.
Mr. Nsubuga, somebody is asking, what can they do if they don't have WhatsApp? But can they, what will they do? Can they send anything on your email? And how are they going to do that?
Let me give them my email. They know how to use it, that's it. But I think the easiest way would be to add them to the groups. Though I'm not an admin in any of them, Mr. Dungu. So
no, he's saying he's not using.
Help me there.
He's saying he's not on WhatsApp. Huh? Yeah? What did he say? He can borrow a phone later. You
Teacher,
yes.
Still someone is saying that he's using a laptop. What can he do?
Let me share my email for those ones using laptops. You can attach that picture on my email for now.
All right, so maybe help them. And teacher, still there is someone still is asking to be added in the group. It is his first time to join this.
Ruth Basheba.
Yes.
Ruth Basheba, if you are using a phone, there is a link. Sorry, there is a link that Mr. Dung was shared. Let me reshare it.
Maybe reshare it.
Yes, I'm resharing it. There, you please click on it. It will take you directly to the group that we want you to join. And for my email, for those ones who are using laptops,
teacher,
it's also there.
Teacher,
yes.
Maybe you talk to Daniela because she's saying that the WhatsApp groups are saying that only admins are supposed to send there. And you say that we are sending the work after the class, isn't it?
Okay, I'm going to talk to the admins. Don't worry.
Okay.
They will be open for us to put our work there and then maybe closed again later.
All right. Then that's your email?
Yes.
Okay. Someone is saying that you send the words, you
WhatsApp
share
link
the
is there. Jose Kijambo. How are you?
Mr. Nsubuga, it would be good to find out if they still remember anything to do with the Padlet, because I think every holiday we need to remind them about all these pages.
Yeah, Mr. Dungu.
Yes.
Mr. Nsubuga.
Yes.
Mr. Dungu.
Yes, please.
It's me, Malcolm.
Yes, Malcolm.
There are some who I invited to come in these lessons, and some of them are new. They even don't know how to use the Padlet, so I really request you to teach them.
Okay, we will do that. Okay,
all right, sir.
Thank you for the information.
Okay. Mr. Nsubuga. Mr. Nsubuga. Someone is requesting for the Padlet link.
The link for the Padlet.
And still someone is requesting for the WhatsApp link. Eh?
Okay.
Yes.
WhatsApp link is there. Padlet link, I'm going to get it soon.
Yes. So I think, Rachel, you helped. You're seeing the WhatsApp link there. Faith, thank you very much.
All right, I think we have tried something. I'm seeing some people are telling me they are done. I don't know if we are all. I want us to start sharing.
So, teacher.
Yes.
Are the WhatsApp groups not yet open, because still someone is saying that how are we posting the work?
Yes, we are going to post. The admins of the group are going to open for us. I'm going to request them to open for us. But for now, we are going to first discuss. We will post the work when they are opened. Eh?
Okay, okay, sir. All right.
Teacher,
yes, your hand is up.
Yes, I wanted to give my submission.
It is okay. It's okay.
So my findings are the walls may have cracked because of too much heat, poor construction materials, or maybe capillarity. The dry walls because when it's warm, too much heat because when it's warm, the walls contract and expand. And the advice I give him is to use extension, are they called extension wires or tubes to help resolve that problem? And then the poor construction materials, the advice I give him is to use good quality materials like sand and cement. And then capillarity, I advise him to use a damp-proof course. Thank you.
A damp-proof course. Okay, thank you so much. She's telling us that this person may have used the poor methods of poor construction methods, one, the poor construction material, two, and she's advising this person to use good material when he is building the walls of his customers. Yes. Any other person whose submission is ready?
Yes, teacher, it's Amy Faith Sierra. Teacher, I guess the cause of this one is the poor building skills. It may not necessarily be the poor building materials, because I see bricks, sand, and cement. But the poor building skills in that when these people are building the wall, I see Professionally, there are some holes they leave in between the walls. I think that's to allow room for expansion. And I think, to my own understanding, that if these holes were left there at an estimated distance, this wouldn't have happened. So I advise him to hire, do I say professionals, in order to build for a better construction. Thank you, teacher.
Okay, thank you. My friend is telling us that professionally, there are those gaps that we leave in the walls when they are constructing. And those gaps are to give room for expansion. But now if you leave no room for expansion, it means that those walls, when they expand the contract, they are going to break because they have no room for expansion. So he's advising this person, instead of doing the work himself, he should hire a more professional person to help him build. Yes, any other person with what have you written down? Yes, my participants, please, I want your hands up. Tell me what you have written down. Hello. Any person to let us know what you have written? Friends, you tell me, please, what you have you written down? And Nana has written that this cause it because very large forces building up and then building cracks. Nana, can you explain more?
Sarah, speak up.
Teacher, it's Faith Sierra again.
Yes,
and I have something to say, because last time I had said that you should hire professionals to build living halls. But then, just to substantiate and highlight in this thing, the cause to why these cracks come during the hot temperatures, it is because when this temperature hit the bricks and
Yes, Sierra, I'm hearing you. Sierra?
Maybe she's
the sun
away.
particles, then they increase.
Network.
Okay, we have lost Sierra to network. Any other person?
Teacher, on as to explain to James the cause of this is humidity levels apart from temperature. There is also humidity, which is also related to temperature. Humidity, the amount of water vapor in the atmosphere can, depending on the area that he's building or he's working from, can lead to the cracking. Though for it, humidity comes in at very low points. And humidity levels when the wall absorbs in water, a dry wall, which has just been constructed, absorbs in water, it cracks. So that could be another cause apart from the temperature differences.
Okay. Any other person? We still have time to share. Any other person? Any other person with the idea, please let us share what we wrote down. Yes, please. Peace.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Yes, we
Okay,
can.
I think I might have an idea about this. Just a trial. Well,
It's okay.
since this is a hot season, right? And remember, when they are mixing the cement for, is it plastering the walls or fixing the bricks, they always mix some water in it, so that water is always there to hold the cement. But now, since this is a hot season, and remember, since it's the hot season, it will be very hot, and all this water might evaporate, leaving the cement like somehow loose, because the water is done, which makes it to stick. But now, since it's a hot season, the water might evaporate and there'll be nothing to make that cement to stick. So therefore, to cause the particles to separate and start cracking, the walls will crack somehow. I think.
Okay, thank you for that wonderful presentation. Yes, any other person? Any other person?
Someone is saying in the chat that due to temperature changes.
Temperature changes.
Yes.
Good.
We are having Sophia Mebo. Sophia Mebo, please you unmute.
Well, I guess it is because of capillarity.
Yes, capillarity. How do we define capillarity?
This is a tendency of a liquid to rise or fall in a capillary tube.
So how does it come here?
I think I can't explain what you could help.
Okay, thank you. Now, capillarity would work if they had told us that this person maybe didn't put a damp-proof course like one of our friends says, but the piece of the wall that you're showing us It's something which is higher above the ground, maybe, but it's cracking. Now, the reason why we find cracks, like one of our friends also shared to us, is whenever because the bricks and the cement, they are solids. So whenever the temperature changes or whenever it becomes hot, like they're telling us here that it's a hot season, the temperature, we saw that when the temperature increases, the molecules also move with a high velocity, and therefore the space between them increases. So maybe the bricks that are making this wall increased, but as they increase expansion, they have no room for increase. So what happens is that they will try to create their own room. For example, if you are inside a house, and maybe there is something that's chasing you inside, and the only thing to do is to kick the door. So when you apply a force to kick that door to open, then that door will either get the glass broken or the locks will fall off. That is what these molecules are doing. They will cause this wall to have those cracks because they are helping themselves to create a room that you didn't put there, that you didn't create as you were building. So the problem is that James was not putting a structure which had room for either expansion or contraction. And when the hot season came, they were breaking because they have no room to expand or contract. But the advice that you people have told me that you are giving him, that whenever he's building, maybe he can leave gaps, maybe he can use better material, was all okay. But a person who tells us that he leaves gaps in these walls, which can allow room for expansion and contraction, I think is exceptional in this case. Thank you, my friends, for the activity that we have done. Now I got one question to ask you.
Teacher?
Yes?
We are remaining with one hand up.
Yes, whose hand is that?
Ruth Namakula.
Teacher, my question is, how is he able to put the gaps? Does that mean maybe he's going to, I don't know, over in between the cement, something like that, by putting a piece of wood?
Yeah, what they do sometimes, if this wall is, for example, a fence wall, if it's a fence wall, they normally leave either gaps below, near the ground, or some others where you see, say, let me try to annotate. Now, like in those gaps here, oh, that color is not good for annotation.
Teacher?
Yes?
Someone is saying that the advice is giving him, he can use extension joints.
There are extension joints also. Now they are also, sometimes they leave those things, those ones that have put circles in. There are some walls you'll find when those things are not joined fully, when there is a space between those two things. And when you see that space, it's not because someone had forgotten, but that someone is putting room for expansion. Now I want you to do for me something small.
Thank you, teacher.
This something small that you're going to do, I think you're also going to present it in our next lesson if we have one. If we don't leave spaces or gaps for expansion, what other thing can we use, if any? I think I should write down that question somewhere. leaving gaps for expansion.
One more hand, Mr. Nsubuga.
What else? Yes, we are going to have that hand. What else can we use to help avoid cracks? Now that is one question. Then the other question is some applications of expansion in solids. Now we copy down those questions that I've put here on the side so that you can be able to find solution to them. Yes, which hand was up? That hand was which was up?
Someone already lowered down the hand, teacher.
Okay.
Yes. He's back. There is someone here.
Teacher.
Yes.
A question.
Yes, Mabel.
What are extension joints?
Extension joints. Who shared for us extension joints to help Mabel tell us?
As if it was Malcolm.
No, it wasn't me.
Anyone who knows what extension joints are, to let us know.
Someone here.
Tessa. Tessa is innocent. The
Teacher, I think, okay, according to Google, it says extension joints are an assembly designed to hold parts together while safely absorbing temperature, induced expansion and contraction. While it is an assembly to hold parts together while safely absorbing temperature, induced expansion and contraction of building materials and vibration, or to allow the movement due to the ground settlement or seismic activity.
Okay, thank you. So we assemble materials instead of leaving gaps. You can assemble materials that are help to absorb heat, or they can absorb the expansion and contraction of building materials, or things like earthquakes and such. Let me find it here so that we can be able to see it. Let me find.
Teacher, we have a hand.
Yes, let that person be helping, be speaking as I try to.
Which I'm trying. Another way is by using the different materials that have a stronger covalent bond, a bond that will hold together, not a material that has molecules that are joined by a strong bond to prevent unusual expansions and contractions, like how in the chat they are saying the bricks of 9-9 and the concrete that is well mixed to prevent the cracking.
extension joints in concrete. Okay, Ruth. Oh, Ruth, welcome. I had not seen you well. I'm going to share something here for us to see an extension joint. Yes.
Welcome to Mother Daughter Projects. I'm Seth, I'm Vicky, and today we're sharing a maintenance project. And it's something that you probably never really even thought about because we never even thought about it. A couple weeks ago, a friend of mine told me that he was going to replace the wood expansion joints between his concrete sidewalk and driveway. And I was curious about this, the reasoning for that. And I guess years ago, they used to use wood as the expansion joint because it would help prevent the concrete slabs from cracking. They don't use the
Sorry?
You can't see your screen.
I'm going to share it, Mr. Dung. I was getting a good video for us. Where is it's here?
Welcome to Mother Daughter Projects. I'm Seth, I'm Vicky, and today we're sharing a
Are we able to see that video that I'm showing you? Malcolm, can we see that video that I'm showing?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, hope it will help us if you listen carefully.
maintenance project. And it's something that you probably never really even thought about because we never even thought about it. A couple weeks ago, a friend of mine told me that he was going to replace the wood expansion joints between his concrete sidewalk and driveway. And I was curious about this, the reasoning for that. And I guess years ago, they used to use wood as the expansion joint because it would help prevent the concrete slabs from cracking. They don't use the wood anymore, they use newer methods. But there is a way to replace the wood if you haven't. Once we became aware that it could be a problem, we started looking at our own homes, and I noticed that the wood between my slabs started looking pretty ratty, and same thing as Steph's house. So we decided to take care of it. So come join us as we show you how we fix the issue. The first joint was pretty well stood in. I started by using locking pliers and then moved on to a pry bar, hammering it into place, and the wood was then able to be loosened enough where I could remove it with the pliers. You can see this one came out in one complete piece. We cleaned up the area and blew away any excess dirt. The flexible vinyl fits snugly into the concrete gap, and the mallet worked well to set it in place. They do recommend backfilling with sand or gravel up to the bottom of the gasket. The second wood joint came out very easily with pliers. We bought 11 feet of a slab gasket for the 3 expansion joints. To cut the vinyl, we marked the placement and made the cut with our miter saw, although this can easily be done with a pocket knife or heavy-duty scissors. This one fits snugly into place. In this spot, one of the concrete slabs was raised a bit, and we debated about grinding that down. But with a quick walk test, it doesn't seem to be a tripping hazard, so we're going to leave it as is for now. The third joint did not come out as easily. The wood broke into many pieces, so it took a while to fish it all out. There are a number of reasons why you might want to replace your expansion joints. One is it helps control the weeds that come up through. Another is if it's totally rotten, then it could create a tripping hazard. Another is it helps prevent the water from getting down underneath the sidewalk or the driveway, which that down there. And the last thing is it just really, really looks good. That's the curb appeal of your house.
Yes, now my friend who was asking about what those extension joints are. You have seen they are used in different ways. There is where the walkways that are at the beginning of the video, they were telling us that the walkways were cracking, but what we want is them not to crack. So they left that gap, but to cover that gap, they put what they call yes, Malcolm?
Someone is asking that, what is contraction?
Contraction. Now, what happens, we say that when we hit something, it becomes bigger. Let me talk about like that. It becomes bigger or it expands. Now, becoming bigger is expanding, but when something becomes smaller, then we say it is contracting. It is becoming smaller because the temperature has reduced and the molecules are now occupying a smaller volume, so it is becoming smaller. It's like if you have a balloon, when you inflate it, becomes bigger, it is expanding. When the air inside the balloon is removed, it is contracting. It is becoming smaller. So that is what contraction and means for that person who was asking.
Okay.
Now our assignment to find out any applications of expansion in solids. You get one application and you explain it. Applications of expansion in solids. I want you to get one application of your choice, and then you explain how it is done. Now, someone who was saying that network wasn't clear, it was clear on my side. I guess that was your side, Samuel. Okay, someone to summarize for us what you have got from today's lesson.
Someone is saying in the chat that expansion deals with heat and contraction deals without heat.
Okay. Is there anyone to summarize for us what we have seen in expansion in solids?
We're having a hand here.
Yes, Dennis.
Dennis, please, you unmute.
Master, the video was not clear enough. I did not get it.
Okay, we're having
I will be sent. I will. For Dennis, I'll be sending the link in the links of the videos that we have seen today in our WhatsApp groups, so you can click on at any time and you'll be able to see the videos properly. Yes, Elijah.
Sure, for me, my summary is that according to the lesson on what we studied today is that the higher the temperatures applied on the object, the more it expands. And the less the temperatures, the less the volume of the object. So this deals with solids. When you're talking about solids, we talk about the expansion and the contraction of the objects in the increment and the reduction of heat respectively. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Elijah, for that wonderful summary. Yes, Ciara.
Teacher, you've asked about the applications of expansion in solids. There is one when constructing let's say the layers. That space there is left in between, and it's left there to create room for expansion. That's one application. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Faith. Can you also try to summarize for us how the lesson has been?
We have in Mabel. Please, you unmute.
Well, teacher, according to me, I say that expansion takes place when there is heat, and contraction takes place when heat is not there. That is all I can summarize.
Okay.
Having another hand. Please, Gilbert, you unmute.
Yeah. Expansion takes place when something is heated, according to what we have learned today. And when it loses heat, it contracts inwards.
Okay, thank you, Gilbert. Thank you.
Having
Thank
another
you.
hand.
Okay, in summary of the lesson, expansion. Today you started about expansion, and this comes due to the hot temperatures. In that, when these hot temperatures are applied to the particles, they increase in the kinetic energy, which causes them to expand and become bigger. Then contraction comes out of a result of the cold temperatures. In that, let's assume this material was heated and maybe it expanded. When it cools down, it goes back to the normal size because it has lost the heat energy. So it has to contract. Thank you. According to my own understanding, that is what I try to summarize.
Thank you so much, Ciara. Yes, Dennis, your hand is up.
Master, expansion occurs due to cold temperatures, while expansion occurs when heat temperatures occur, and cold temperatures, and contraction occurs when cold temperatures occur.
Okay, thank you for that. Anyone else? Anyone else? If there is no one, I think for today it will be okay for us to stop here, but we have an assignment to do. One thing that we have to do is to send the work that we have written about our activity in the WhatsApp groups. Then the other thing is to get one application and you explain how it is done, application of expansion in solids. Then the other thing is you shouldn't dodge any lesson. We have lessons up to Friday. So keep on coming, keep on enjoying our lessons. I'm sure you will not go back to school the same.
We're having a hand, sir.
Yes, Sarah.
Okay, teacher, I'm trying to say that before we close, I'd like to give a prayer.
It's okay. You're going to give it to us.
Okay, can I
Yes,
say
you
it
can
now?
give us a prayer first. Ruth,
Okay,
we are
let's
writing in
abandon
our books. Wait, Ime. We are writing the work in our books. And after you take a picture and you send in the WhatsApp groups that you have, either stream A or stream B or those other streams that you have, I will be receiving the work and we'll be commenting on it in our other lessons.
Mr. Nso,
Yes.
there is a battle going on in the chat. People are busy complaining about, people as if are saying that, Ruth, you're also still in that same battle. Like I'm seeing people, they're saying hair can expand. I don't know. What do they mean? I don't know whether you can help them before we close this lesson, sir.
I don't know where the question started from.
People are really saying hair can expand, and others are saying no. Then
Hair expanding when what happens?
let's first have this one. One of the past, Gilbert.
Senator, you said that when you hit something, it expands.
A solid in this case. A solid in
yes,
this
a solid.
case. Eh?
Yes. And hair is a solid. But when you hit hair with fire, it contracts. It does not even get, it does
With
not
fire?
expand. Yes, with fire, like fire from a candle or a charcoal stove, gas cooker, it will expand. But someone said when you use is it a dry hair blower or whatever the thing is, there it will expand. But when you use fire, it contracts. So my final statement was that not all of them, that not all solids expand after being heated.
I think what they are meaning, these people, is that you see when they take a woman for hair washing, and then after that they blow dry that hair. There is a way to expand, and it is, even though they have not washed it, it comes when it is down. The moment they blow dry it, then it expands and it is mad in the head. I think that's what they are meaning.
But when you use fire, it contracts.
But Gilbert, when do you use fire on hair? You burn people.
No, not like
because
you can go to the salon and get some cut hair, then you test. The hair will just contract.
Of course, it just gets burnt. Can't that hair has no something like contraction or expansion. You put on fire, then I'm sure it's just going to burn out.
Actually, it does not burn. It shrinks.
It shrinks, eh?
Yes.
So what do you think causes the shrinking?
Contraction.
Okay, we'll find a better answer for that. Let us
Remember,
keep it
you
for
said
today.
Having another hand up. Please,
yes, Sophia.
Teacher, can you explain why after washing this hair and we use a dry, it becomes much more than it was before?
It becomes much more than it
was before. After I use the dryer.
What do you think? What do you think?
I think it is all about expansion.
That air expands
after using a dryer.
Any other person to tell us what they think? Yes, Ruth, your hand is up.
This, according to Google, it says that the that enhances the supply of nutrients required for keratin production, and the production of protein which is necessary for hair growth is increased and your hair grows faster. So I don't know, but it just accelerates it. Now the issue of expansion, maybe the English.
Okay. I think we have too much to discuss there on the hair issue. Gilbert still has the hand up. Yes, Gilbert, what is the hand for?
You see, they are saying that when they go for that, is it hair washing? And then they dry. It just so happens that the hair, the point of saying it expands, correct, because it's same, but just it appears. But the same, the hair just, and I say, the appearance changes. So it might make you think that the hair has become more, but it's still the same amount.
The same amount of hair appears to our eyes, eh?
Yes.
Okay, Gilbert. Yes, Ime. Ime, your hand is up. Ime Faith Sierra.
Yes, teacher. Teacher, I have a suggestion about what those people are saying. When they say that the hair expands, I guess they're taking it as when they go for a hot comb, in that the hair there is hot. There is a way this hair becomes longer. So I think that's what they are calling the expansion. But this woman takes long without hot combing the hair, it grows short. I think that's what these people are trying to bring out. Thank you.
Does it does it grow shorter, or it's just coiling? Maybe it just coils, and when it's ball dried, then it becomes long because now it's uncoiling. I'm not sure, but I think we are going to look for a clear explanation for the hair thing, and I'm sure in our next lesson we'll have to first settle the hair battle, which is in the chat, and then after we'll go to expansion in liquids and in gases if time allows. So you allow me ask Sierra to pray for us, and we stop our lesson from here.
Okay, let's assemble ourselves for a closing prayer. Father, King Almighty, we thank you for the data provided. Father, we thank you for our teacher. We thank you for the network, for those people whom it has been bad. Father, we pray it may be good. King of glory, we thank you for an amazing and wonderful lesson we've had. It's one of the best ever, Father. And as we go in out, Father, help us always do the assignments and partake whatever thing we study. May you always go in with us and help us pass through all the circumstances. Keep our teacher safe and us safe. In Jesus' name, I pray and believe. Amen.
Okay, thank you so much for being wonderful participants. I've really enjoyed the lesson. You have a good evening. The weather is cold, so keep yourselves warm. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.